I'm all by myself. I know, oh, I will. Okay, we will call the council meeting of October 13th to order. I would like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq, and we can stand for the singing of O Canada. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see behind the true north, strong and free. Far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you. Record of attendance. So we have, I almost said Constable Dares. We have Councillor Dares. He's actually on the screen here so he can participate fully. And I'm looking for a motion. Go ahead.
Your Worship, I just want to thank you for indulging me. I've tested positive for COVID, and although I'm feeling fine, I'm following all the protocols. And I might add, you carried the day as far as O Canada. Thank you.
Surprised you, I can even sing. We're just glad you could join us. So, Councillor Cleveland, did you want to excuse Councillor Cleveland?
Yes, I would like to acknowledge
Okay. Second? Okay, Councillor Lesser. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, any declarations of conflict of interest, and you can certainly declare at the time of the agenda item. Go ahead, Councillor Dares.
Yes, I'd just like to say that I will be declaring conflict on item 10B on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, you can declare at the time of the agenda item. Approval of agenda. Any additions or deletions, folks? Go ahead, Deputy.
If we could add J. Strong Cup.
Okay, so I am going to put under 14A, J. Strong. Anything else? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda with the addition, please? Councillor Val, seconded by Councillor Dares. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, approval of the minutes. Town Council, September the 8th, please. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Hatfield. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, Committee of the Whole, September 14th, please. Councillor Lesser, second by Councillor Hatfield. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Oh, it's just two. Okay, so we are now at the public hearing. So I will ask 3 times. I will read the motion, and then I will ask 3 times if anybody would like to speak to the motion, and anybody in the audience can speak. The other thing is, Ms. McKinnon, you didn't have anybody email or anything. We would have been aware of that, so she makes sure that we have that information, okay? And you would just step up to the microphone if you do want to speak and tell us your name and where you live. So the first and only item on the public hearing is Shaw Avenue, And the motion is to enter a purchase and sale agreement for $1 with the Affordable Housing Association of Nova Scotia for vacant property located on Shaw Avenue, PID 903-12471. And the issue here, and CAO, I'm going to ask you to step in for a second. The only item on the agenda for discussion is are we going to agree to the purchase and sale for the dollar with the association, understanding that there are still outlying issues, that have to be resolved, a number of issues that have to be resolved, but the issue tonight is simply that purchase and sale. Did you want to?
Yes, sure, Your
Yeah.
Worship. So, under the MGA, the town council has the authority, the ability to purchase and sell property, and must do so at fair market value. The exception to that is if the council wishes to sell to a not-for-profit, they can sell below fair market value at a price determined by council. If the value of the property is over $10,000, then it's required that there be a public hearing so that the public is aware of what council is contemplating. And so the issue tonight is that the Affordable Housing Association of Nova Scotia has identified Yarmouth as a place they'd like to do an affordable housing project. And after looking at a number of possibilities within the town, properties that the town owns, they landed on Shaw Avenue as their preferred site. And so they asked us to consider selling to them for $1. And so council cannot do that unless you have this public hearing and then you deliberate on whatever you hear at the hearing and make that decision. There are some other conditions around the development of the project that I received some detail on yesterday and today, and so those are other decisions that council will be asked to make related specifically to that project. And there are also, in full disclosure, there are also some questions about the actual dimensions or property lines. The property wasn't surveyed at the point that the town of Yarmouth purchased it, and so we would have to engage a surveyor to clarify any issues that remain there. But nonetheless, those are kind of marginal in terms of the overall size of the project and property. So, Your Worship, the matter tonight is about your authority to sell property below market value.
Yeah, and I just want it to be clear, because just because we say if we said yes to this, it doesn't mean we're selling it, right? We have to grant ourselves permission to be able to do that.
That's right. There are other conditions
Yes,
that
exactly.
that council will deliberate on later. But the reason this is coming at this time is because, as I said, the Affordable Housing Association of Nova Scotia is anxious to do a project.
Right on.
They've picked Yarmouth. There's certainly a need, and so it's on your agenda for consideration.
Good, thank you. Okay, so three items down, that's where council will have its discussion. And now at the public hearing is a time just for the public to speak, so I'll ask 3 times. Would anybody like to speak to this issue? Okay. Would anyone in the audience like to speak to this issue? Okay. Mr. Rodney, do you want to come up to the microphone and, yep.
Sorry, Brian Rodney's my name, and I'm associated with Best Western Mermaid Hotel. And I have the property right next to where you're talking about. And there's a couple of things that I didn't know I could speak tonight, so I'll just ramble a little bit. It's just, there's a line drawn through the back of my parking lot. And I have a plot plan submitted to Tony and Jeff that shows a plot plan when I built it in 1972. And there's a paved parking lot back there. My electrical components are there and underground cable. And this cuts off my power, the line that is there. Now, I realize you're going to be doing a survey, but I'd like to make sure it just doesn't get slipped over. And I don't want to really try to get into easements if it has to be, but I own both sides of that, and when we sold it to the town, it was clearly understood. I spoke to the past mayor, and he said he can't understand. It's so clear that why that line never got drawn, he just couldn't understand. So I just passed that along. It's a casual comment, but in that, and I appreciate being, having the opportunity to speak with Tony, and hopefully we'll go through. But I'm concerned. I don't want to see it get legs. I want to do it right. I'm not against public housing. That's not where I'm coming from. And but I don't want to get caught in something and come back and try to change things. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So CAO, we capture all of these. All of these points are captured. Okay, when you speak, everything's taken into account. Thank you. Okay, so I'll ask one final time. Would anyone like to speak to this? Okay, hearing no one, we will have that discussion at the a little bit later on. Thank you. Okay, so business arising, building code bylaw amendment, and the recommended motion there is that council approves second reading to amend the building code bylaw section 2.20. Okay, Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Lesser. Is there any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye, contrary? Motion carried. Accessory buildings in the front yard. Okay, this is 10B, that's
We'll be stepping away, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so Councillor Dares is stepping away, he's in conflict there. Accessory buildings in the front yard of residential zones. I know this has been before us before and we had more information. Recommended motion is that council approves second reading to the land use bylaw, LUB, amendments to allow accessory buildings in the front yard of residential zones under the specific circumstances outlined in the recommended amendments. Do I have a motion? Councillor Lesser, do I have a seconder? Okay, Councillor Bell, did you wish to speak to that? No? Okay. All right, discussion. Councillor Hatfield?
Thank you. Thank you to the town planner for providing us with further information on that particular issue. I still am against this. I looked at the properties that were listed as potential properties, recognizing that there still could be more out there that we don't know about. A few of them were okay. There was one that was right in the middle of other heritage housing next to it on each side and across the street. I'm not saying that they were designated heritage, but they're certainly older homes in the town. And I guess I just go with my gut on these things, in that I would not want this done to me, to wake up some morning and see a shed on the front yard across the street from where I live. And I wouldn't want to be doing that to any resident in the town of Yarmouth. So I would still not be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions, concerns? Go ahead, Councillor Bell.
Yeah, I thank you again to the staff for taking that extra step. I am okay with approving this motion. My fears have been allayed by the secondary report from staff. I understand where Councillor Hatfield is coming from in terms of the aesthetics, but I feel that it's limited enough, and we have been able to fashion an amendment that is specific enough that it is going to have a very minor ability to affect the town, and I'm going to support the motion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor Lesser.
Yeah, I had a chance to view the property as well. Where at the last meeting I didn't know the property or what it would look like. I think with Councillor Bell that in this particular case, things look good, and there doesn't seem to be a lot options. It's a little hard on the map to see or to figure out exactly where everything is, but it doesn't seem to be that it's going to create a problem in the town, as far as I can tell. So I think at this point, I would be prepared to support the motion as well.
Thank you. Anyone else? We're good? Okay. So we're ready to vote? Okay. All those in favor? All those opposed? Nay. Okay, 3-2. So that was voted down. So I don't know what the next steps are. Go ahead.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Shaw Avenue, Councillor Dares. Do we have to text? Oh, I think he might, there he is. Want to get you back. Okay, Shaw Avenue, and the recommended motion, as it was earlier, is that council enter a purchase and sale agreement for $1 with the Affordable Housing Association of Nova Scotia for vacant property located on Shaw Avenue, bid 903-12471. So this is where council has the discussion, and certainly Mr. Rodney's here if we have any more questions for him. We can bring him back if he's willing, but yeah, so this is for our ability to purchase it, because we have to sort of give permission to purchase it. Go ahead, Councillor Heather.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to confuse it because I know we're just discussing this, the dollar piece, but I also wanted to, I guess, to be able to get some more information, maybe from Tony, I'm not sure, about what Mr. Rodney was speaking of and how that would impact, you know, the issue, the land there.
I can speak
okay.
briefly to that, Your Worship, if it's
Certainly.
appropriate.
Yeah.
So the issue is that the presumed location of the property line is not exactly where it appears to be on property online. So we would, in any case, have to engage a surveyor to figure out. And so a surveyor doesn't just look at you know, plot pins in the ground. They do research associated with where those pins ought to be, where they've historically been, what the descriptions are, and so on. And they bring it forward and actually, you know, stamp a survey plan. And, you know, Mr. Rodney has some information. There's two things. Mr. Rodney has some information that shows the property line, appears to show the property line at a different location. And he has operated a business adjacent to this property for decades and has utilized part of what might appear to be the other property, which he also owned. So it's a situation that's, I think it's resolvable without any particular hardship to anybody. We just need to figure it out. So became aware of this issue earlier this week. And so it will take a little bit of time to figure that out to everyone's satisfaction and put a bow on it. But that doesn't necessarily impact our ability to do this. Now, what it might impact, and I haven't looked closely enough, but I know that the Affordable Housing Association of Nova Scotia has done a kind of a plan for what they would develop on that site. I don't know to what degree these, say, 20 or so feet, how that would affect their plan. It might be very marginally or not at all. But that's something that if that's where we land, you know, that will have to be considered in the context of that development agreement, which has, you know, several components that that all go through a public hearing process and come to council. So that is a separate process and a separate issue, and I feel confident that people with good intent and goodwill will resolve those issues. And but this tonight just simply allows you to deal with a not-for-profit at a below market rate for whatever the land is.
Go ahead, Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to make a motion that council enter into a purchase and sale agreement for $1 with the Affordable Housing Association of Nova Scotia for vacant land located on Shaw Avenue, with the understanding that it will be contingent on conditions being met. But that, yes, this is to allow council the ability to sell the land at below market value.
Yeah.
And I will make that as a motion.
Okay, we didn't have a motion on this yet. Oh, my apologies. Second by the deputy. Okay, go ahead, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Bell. Did you want to speak further on that?
Just that I'm convinced that there's a way to make this project, which we so vitally need in this community, happen, because I think that all of the partners involved have goodwill and are committed and aligned for the same reason. And so I think it's just a matter of breaking the barriers so that we can figure out how to do this in a way that is sustainable and meets everybody's needs.
Thank you. Councillor Lesser?
I guess I have a question for the CAO. If the spot that we're talking about, and I know this doesn't really impact what we're going to be voting on, but the spot we're talking about is currently being used for parking by the hotel. Is that a motel? Sorry.
So it appears that the western edge of the property, which abuts the motel property, it appears that in some maps that some of the parking stalls, like 7 parking stalls, are on the other side of on our side of the property line, let's say. But again, that's not conclusive. That's why we have to bring others in, and we need to make sure that we don't upset anybody's apple cart in terms of the hotel operation. For instance, as Mr. Rodney pointed out, his transformer that provides power to the hotel appears to be on some maps on the wrong side of the line. But, again, this is not an issue that is insurmountable.
Yeah, the reason I ask that is because I'm assuming when they looked at, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I'm assuming when the Affordable Housing Association was looking at that land, they were probably looking at the land that's grassed in and not thinking we're going to be taking over some of the land that's already being used, or I'm not sure, or would they have looked at the dwelling? Like, if you go there, you wouldn't assume that property was in question at all. So I'm assuming that if they came and looked at it, they would have thought the land that's mowed, the grassy area, would be the land they're purchasing and would plan a development from that. But do we know the answer to that?
Well, not exactly, and it's a little off sort of where we're heading tonight. But to say that, yes, I agree 100%. If you drove up there, you would assume the property line is at the edge of the mow kind of thing, as opposed to where some maps show it. On the other hand, if you went online and gathered information about the size of the lot so that you could have your designer, then you would look at the size of the lot. And if the size of the lot doesn't align with where the grass is mowed, then there's a little bit of an issue. But again, it's a little bit of an issue that I'm sure is not going to make or break the project, I expect. And nor are we going to put the motel out of business.
No.
Right? We'll figure this out.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay, go ahead there, Deputy.
I'm just thankful that Mr. Rodney came and presented his facts respectfully. So often when people have things to say, it's in a derogatory manner. So it was nice to hear someone voice their concern in a respectful way. And I think this is a great project, but obviously we want to make sure that the hotel is looked out for as well. So thank you, sir, for speaking today. We appreciate that.
Anyone else? Okay, I mean, all great questions. I think Councillor Bell said it, there's a way to do this, and I'm so thankful that AHANS is here and interested in Yarmouth. We're certainly in dire need of housing, and certainly the type that they do. They do a great job. They know what they're doing. They're experts in their field. And we just have a couple little things to iron out, which, you know, I'm sure they agree with. You know, it's just the little things that we want to make sure. We're aware of, you know, the gentleman that spoke this evening. The CAO's aware of that because they've had conversations. So everything there is taken into consideration, and it's all good. We're hoping full steam ahead on a good project with everything else taken care of and everybody happy. So are you ready for the vote? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Okay, motion carried. Thank you, folks. Okay, so new business. Request to present Tim Doucette. The motion there is that council have Tim Doucette present at the October council committee of the whole meeting. You making that motion? Okay, seconded. Yeah, I did ask the CAO today before I hit the clip there that he will be asking for funding. So maybe, I mean, a letter would be good, but he can come in and do that. Okay, any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Request to present Carrie Muse, that council have Carrie Muse and Rick Allwright present about physician recruitment at the November committee of the whole meeting. Councillor Lesser, excuse me, seconded by the deputy mayor. And again, this one was attached to funding as well. So we just want to make sure that, you know, if we have questions, that we can certainly do that. Is there any questions on this one? Concerns? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Transfer of port management. The recommended motion there is that council agree to be a nominator for the Yarmouth Port Corporation, Inc. Okay. So moved by Councillor Lesser, seconded by Councillor Bell. Any discussion on this one? Okay, go ahead, Councillor.
Just very briefly, the ports in Yarmouth are in the hands of the Yarmouth Industrial Commission at the moment, which is a tri-municipal body. And over the last few years, there has increasingly been an interest in bringing the stakeholders that are actually involved in operating the ports in more directly into the management process. And so the Industrial Commission has initiated a process by which they expect and hope to divest management of the ports into the hands of a nonprofit corporation. And so this is just a request that council be a part of that process by being one of the nominators for a director on the Yarmouth Port Corporation.
Good. Thank you. Anything else, folks? Questions? Concerns? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. 11D, request to present Catherine Sweet. That was Councillor Dares, and the recommended motion there is that council invite Catherine Sweet, Secretary of the Basic Income Group of Nova Scotia, an advocacy group that educates about how a national basic income would benefit our communities, to present at a future meeting. Councillor Dares, you want to make that motion? Okay.
I will, thank you.
Thank you. Second by Deputy Mayor. Go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor.
Just if I may, just want to add that Catherine Sweet's a former resident of Yarmouth. For those that may recall, her father, Lamont Sweet, was the public health officer here years ago. And so she grew up in Yarmouth. And it'd be nice to see her back here again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, so we have a couple development agreement discharges. First one is 27 Willow Street, and the recommended motion is that council approve the discharge of development agreement for 27 Willow Street, McKinnon Canyon, PID 90207-879. Councillor Bell, second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion on this one? You know what? I think this is the first discharge of a development agreement I've come across in 10 years. I don't ever remember doing one.
I believe we had one earlier this year, but it was an old one that wasn't acted upon.
Okay, gotcha. I thought, did I miss something? Okay, any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Learn something new every day. Just when I thought I didn't do something, I guess I did. Okay, so 28 Forbes Street, recommended motion there is that council approve the discharge of the development agreement for 28 Forbes Street, otherwise known as the golf course, PID 90213-901. Okay, Councillor Bell, second by the Deputy Mayor. Any discussion here? Concerns, questions?
Your worship.
Yes, sir.
I think in both these cases, and the planner can correct me, is that development agreements were put in place that provided certain opportunities for these properties, but that as time went on, the bylaw itself was amended to provide those same opportunities, and so the discharge of the development agreement is not sacrificing any rights. It's simply because the bylaw itself has evolved to incorporate those rights.
It was interesting to read them, wasn't it? Yeah, it was interesting to read them. So I guess it was still a learning curve for me. So I was feeling like I hadn't had to do it before. Okay, so who wants to make that motion? We already did that. Any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, tender results. Trucking of highway bulk salt 2223, that council award the trucking of bulk highway salt to DG and Sons Trucking for an estimated contract price of $84,000 for the 2022 and 23 season. Okay, Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, Town Hall signage. The recommended motion is the Town of Yarmouth erect a sign inside Town Hall noting that we acknowledge we are on traditional lands and that staff look into correct wording and signage options and bring back to council for consideration. And I have no problem reaching out. I was speaking to the CAO about this. I can reach out to the chief and AFN. The deputy could do that as well. So, just to get something that's appropriate and kind of says, what we want to say and where we are. So that acknowledgement. Okay, who wants to make the motion? Councillor Bell, second by Deputy Mayor. Go ahead, Councillor Lesser.
I was very excited to hear that, to read that you were looking at doing that, and it's something that I think probably should have been done a while ago, but I think it's very timely right now to be adding that signage in our town hall. So thank you.
Thank you. I think it's timely, and I think because we acknowledge at our meetings, and we acknowledge, like whether it's a council meeting or a committee meeting, that we think that's enough. But every time, and I often say this to Chief Robinson and to Melanie Robinson Purdy, and I spend a lot of time with her, that every opportunity we have to help people understand, and sometimes just seeing a sign kind of lights it. It's like a light bulb, right? And I need to read it, and it makes them kind of think. So it's every little bit's helpful. We never do anything just to do it, I guess. Go ahead, Deputy.
To further your point, Mayor Mood, I agree 100%, and we often do these one-offs where we,
Yeah.
acknowledge something for a month or for a day or whatnot, but I think it shows the importance if it's here year-round. We talk about that a lot at school now when we do African Heritage Month and whatnot, to make it 365 days a year. So very happy to hear this and agree with you 100% in anything that we can do to partner with AFN to make sure their cause is at the forefront. I think that's a great thing to do.
Thank you. I'll say this too, I can't take 100% credit because I was in Argyle and they have one in their new building, and it hit me, it hit me. And I was actually, it was a sign, but I was taken by it, and it made me think and realize. So I was just thankful they had it up, and it's just a reminder that we can all do things, Okay, anything else, anyone? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. November Town Council, the recommended motion is we change the date of November's council meeting from the 10th to the 17th. Why are we doing that? I know it's the eve of,
I'm not available, Your Worship. It's a suggestion. You don't have to follow it. And sorry, Your Worship, I should expand on that, is that the Town Council bylaw permits council to change its regular monthly meeting, but has to do it at a prior regular council meeting.
Yeah.
And the only option that you have when you change the regular council meeting is to move it back exactly 1 week. So that's why the motion is specific. And if it doesn't suit council, we'll figure it out.
okay, let's first vote on do we want the CAO at the next meeting? We do, because he's got a sense of humor like us. So who wants to make that motion? Deputy Mayor, second by both Councilors Hatfield, okay? Any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. You're welcome. Memo Milo Estates Open Streets. The recommended motion is that council designates the following PIDs as open streets in the town of Yarmouth. Number 902-95254, a PID 903-00484, PID 903-28501, PID 903-29210, PID 903-00492, 903-28519, 903-29228, and parcel J. Okay, that parcel, sorry, the parcel J just threw me. Why couldn't they all be lettered? That would have been easier for me. Yep, thank you. Moved by Councillor Hatfield and seconded by the other Councillor Hatfield. Any discussion on this one? Okay, go ahead there, Councillor Lesser.
Just maybe a little off topic, but is the plan, do we know if the plan is to continue that up to connect to Pleasant Street?
I don't know what
Like, it's getting pretty close now.
yeah, it is.
Yes, Your Worship, these properties that you just numbered off, these are the parcels of land that will convey the street all the way up and including the connection to Pleasant Street. So that will be complete and open once these are conveyed, open, and paved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor.
I just want to say, I think it's just really exciting that we are able to make this motion tonight, that we're opening new streets and opportunities for growth. So I think it's a really positive move.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well said. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Reports, Committee of the Whole. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
I'm happy to read this one and thankful for Councillor Dares for bringing this up. Recommended motion that council direct staff to prepare a report of deficiencies of the South Playground with a plan to address the issues, including a cost estimate and options for funding of the improvements.
Moved, second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Deputy?
a recommended motion that the CAO request the terms of reference for the Community Community Navigator Oversight Committee position.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Hatfield. Any discussion on this one? Go ahead, Councillor Bowe.
Just to say that I have received the information, and so it's, yeah, it's been taken care of. Thank you very much.
Good. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Good thing. Contrary? Motion carried. It's like approving the bills at the end. Wait a minute, I already signed the checks.
Recommended motion that council direct the CAO to include feedback in the survey that would allow all municipalities the option to elect some or all of its members at large.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Bowe. Okay, any discussion on this one? Huh? Yeah, good. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Recommended motion that council sponsor the 2022 Yarmouth Business Awards and be an award sponsor for $1,250.
Seconded by Councillor Heather. Any discussion? Have we done this? Have we done this? Have we told them we're doing this? No, okay. No, I'm just wondering because well, everything else was done ahead of time. Because it's next week. I just didn't know about I always think about how they have to print the names and things like that, so, okay. Any discussion on this one? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried, thank you. Thanks, Deputy. Okay, Citizen Advisory Committees, Planning Advisory. Okay, I'll do land use bylaw amendments, boarding or rooming houses. The recommended motion is that council approve the first reading to land use bylaw amendments to allow boarding or room houses in all zones that allow dwelling units. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Bowe. Any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. And development agreement and land use bylaw amendments with a concurrent rezoning so that council approve first reading to a development agreement and land use bylaw amendments for a 24-unit affordable housing development on Shaw Avenue with concurrent rezoning from general commercial Main Street C2M to high-density residential R3. Okay? I have that motion. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Hatfield. Any discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Reports, questions, any questions for committee chairs? Okay, that was easy. Additions, we have 14A, Jay Strong. Go ahead, Deputy.
I'd just like to say a couple weekends ago, we shut down Main Street, had a great ground hockey tournament. Councillor Heather let me know that people from Alaska that she had met in Cape Breton even spoke how nice it was when they were here. I was talking to another lady that was here from the States. And it's funny, sometimes you do things and you think that it affects just our youth, but it's wide-reaching from people around. It was great to see people back out on the street. I'm very thankful for the businesses who supported us. And yeah, all the people who came out and enjoyed that weekend, and town staff who help us get the permits and whatnot to make sure that happened. So thanks to everybody who had a hand in that. And it was a really great weekend, and we're looking forward to bigger and better next year. So thank you.
Every time we shut down Main Street, the reports are unbelievable, unbelievable. And so, you know, store owners are saying it's their best, like best time of the year it's unreal. It's sporting, but it's economics 101 too, right? Like bring the people to the store. So it's just really, really helpful on every front. Okay, approval of invoices, that the various invoices be approved for payment. Okay, Councillor Bell, second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. The date of the next meeting is November the 10th. Just joking. 17th. Seeing if you're with me. If you can't laugh, you may as well just not even be at this table. Okay, and we need a motion to go in camera. Oh, yes, we have a water meeting. Do you want to come up here, Deputy? Yeah, whatever you want. Just turn your mic on and just keep it on, okay? Yeah, oh yeah. You never have to stay for any part other than why you're here, but that was better than a movie, wasn't it? Thanks for coming. Yep. Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting, please? Thank you, Councillor Lesser and Councillor Hatfield. All those in favor? Aye.